In this video, we demonstrate how to configure WAN Link Load Balancing in FortiOS version 5.2.3. Before setting up load balancing across the WAN 1 and WAN 2 interfaces, we must check in Policy and Objects, Policy IPv4 that no policies are in place which use the WAN 1 or WAN 2 interface. But there is one here between WAN 1 and the internal interface, so that needs to be deleted. Later we'll come back and add a policy using the load balance WANs as a single logical interface. Also, in System, Network, Routing, make sure there is no static routes in place that use the WAN 1 or WAN 2 interfaces. In versions of FortiOS prior to 5.2.3, you would create a virtual WAN link in the Interfaces section, but now that's no longer necessary. Instead, go to System, Network, WAN Link Load Balancing to define the WAN Link Load Balancing interface. The 5 balancing options are source IP based, weighted round robin, spillover, source destination IP based, and measured volume based. Source IP based is the default WAN Link Load Balancing option, which balances traffic equally on both WAN interfaces using the IP number of the session source as the basis for the load balancing calculation. The weighted round robin option lets us use unequal weighting. For example, here with 75% of traffic going through WAN 1 and 25% through WAN 2. This is the method we'll be setting up in a moment. The spillover method lets you set a threshold point so that when traffic to WAN 1 starts to get too busy, the FortiGate begins routing traffic over WAN 2. Useful, for example, if your WAN 1 ISP pricing is cheaper than your WAN 2 ISP. The source destination IP based option is similar to the source-based method, except that the balancing algorithm calculates the load balancing based on both source and destination IP addresses. Finally, the measured volume-based method bases its balancing calculation on not the number of sessions, but on the actual volume of traffic measured in bytes. So let's go through the configuration of weighted round robin. Click Create New to add WAN 1 first, then assign it a relative weighting of 3. Add in the gateway IP address, and click Apply to add this first interface member. Then again, Create New to add in WAN 2, and assign it a weight of 1. And add in the gateway IP address and click Apply. Notice here the assignment of 75% of traffic to WAN 1 and 25% to WAN 2. In the routing section of the GUI, create a new static route with the WAN Load Balance option as the selected device, and click OK. Back in the IPv4 area, click Create New to add a policy for traffic between the internal interface and the new WAN Load Balance interface, and click OK. Now let's generate some traffic, and then go to System, FortiView, All Sessions, where we can see that the sessions are comprised of a greater proportion of WAN 1 interface traffic and a smaller proportion of WAN 2 traffic, which reflects the 75% to 25% weighted balancing we assigned earlier. Now let's simulate a failure of the primary WAN 1 interface by bringing it down administratively. And then back in FortiView, we see that all traffic is now assigned to the remaining WAN 2 interface. This concludes our treatment of WAN Link Load Balancing in FortiOS 5.2.3. Thanks for watching.